Greek island is this? You will find out in the video. I will give you one hint. It is not Santorini. Hi there, Yassas, Kalispera, good afternoon, how's it going? Today is Saturday, May 24th, 2025, currently 86 degrees Fahrenheit, that is 30 degrees Celsius, an absolutely perfect spring, sunny day here on the Greek island of Ios. Look at this perfect beach. Not too many people on it today. This is really the ultimate time to be on the Greek islands. Tonight is my last night here on Ios, and then I'm going over there, Sikanos. I haven't been there yet. Looking forward to it. This is my third time to Ios, so when I was here the first time, back in 2016, I recorded this video. And so that was actually right here, and that is where I am staying again this time, the Far Out Beach Club. I wasn't planning on staying back at the same place, but that just turned out to be the best option. Great room there, amazing price. If you look at the prices of those same rooms in June, July, August, it just goes up and up and up and quadruples in price. Okay, I'm like making my way over to get out of the water. By the way, hot day, cold water. The Mediterranean has not warmed up yet, but it is very, very refreshing. There we go. Now I can stand and stop trying to swim and talk at the same time. Okay, so the title of this video is about Santorini, which is nearby. As I said, took the ferry 3 days ago it was, from Santorini to here. So that was my 8th time to Santorini Island over the past 35 years of coming to Greece. So I was thinking about what to make a video about here on Ios, because I've made other videos before and don't want to make a, tour of the island. Not going to rent a scooter or car or anything. I am going to try to get up into the town there and wander around the Hora town a little bit. And so I thought that I would tell the stories of every time that I've been to Santorini, because almost every time that I've been to Santorini was kind of accidental or not my intended destination. When people ask me, what is my favorite Greek island? Then I don't have a Greek island that is my number one favorite. Santorini is definitely one of my favorite islands. It is gorgeous, it is unique, there is nowhere like it, but I wouldn't say that it is my number one favorite Greek island, but it is certainly one of the best, absolutely. So, all right, let's get out of the beautiful crystal clear water here. Hey guys, so it is now Sunday, May 25th, 2025, currently 82 degrees Fahrenheit, that is 28 degrees Celsius, so it is warm despite being a kind of hazy, cloudy-ish day and a little bit windy. And so yesterday after swimming there, then I headed back to my room planning to take a quick break and then head out and go record this video, and then I realized that I just was not in the mood at all after all the swimming and hanging out in the sun and everything to head out into the sun again on a big walk up the hill to the horrid town, which you can't really see from here, but we are now in the port, a 10-minute drive away from Mylopolis beach, where I was staying there for the past 4 nights. Great beach, really the best beach on Eos Island. And so I decided to hold off and film this video on Mykonos Island. I'm now waiting for the ferry, so it should be coming around the corner any minute. And there she is, yeehaw! Fast ferries. So this ferry is only €4, that is less than $5. Nice to have a cheap ferry for a change. The one from Santorini to here was only €20, so that was a good deal as well. But the one that I was supposed to be on, which got canceled and changed my plans, I stayed an extra day on Santorini because of it. That one was $60-something. A lot of them are quite expensive. Just depends on the ship and how far you're going. All right. Here we go. It's always a good thing when you're getting on a Greek islands ferry. And here we go. Boom. Mykonos. Greek island number 63. Yeah. Look at that car. Whoa. Holy moly. All right, so where I'm staying, right over there, nice short walk. I'm getting hungry for some brunch. It is a little after 10 o'clock. The question is, check in to my room first, if I even can, or stop at a restaurant along the way, take a seat, take a break, get brunch. Let's just wander, see what we come across. That might be it there. Hard to read that sign, but the place is called Maestrali. That is a big ferry, but not the biggest. The Blue Star ferries, I think, are the biggest, and they are my favorites. The bigger the better. Also, the bigger the cheaper, generally. Which is partly why this one was just €4. The more expensive ferries tend to be smaller, more cramped. Very likely you can't go out onto the deck. Yeah, they get you there twice as fast, but I enjoy the ferry experience, so I'm happy to take longer, pay less, enjoy it more. All right, this is definitely a pretty sleepy little town. I need to think about renting a car. Either today or maybe wait till tomorrow. Market there. Haven't seen a restaurant yet. Whoa, crazy blade on that thing. The hunger is hitting fast, so where's a restaurant? Got to be a restaurant on this island. I know it's small, but or actually not so small, the island itself, but not very populated, not very popular with tourists, so why not? Seems perfectly lovely so far. We got churches in random places, barren landscapes, blue and white, classic Greek island. Okay, road goes around that way. We have a dirt road over here. And yes, we will actually get to the content of this video about Santorini eventually. Okay, I'm going to assume that I can walk across this and get over there. But man, I haven't seen a single restaurant yet, and I don't see any along there. There's got to be one. I did see a sign that said restaurant. I guess I'll go for trying to check in if I can, or else just leave my backpack and then seek out breakfast. Okay, yeah, I can just walk across here. What a scene. The red and the white of the ferry really stands out. Dionysios Solomos. So I think ideally I will rent a car today so that I can do some exploring, since we have a full day ahead, and then I have all day tomorrow as well. So I'll try to get a car for 2 days.
Morning.
Yasas, good morning. Maestrali, yes. That's the one, yes, okay.
I take the luggage.
Okay.
Check-in is 2 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, but I can leave you the luggage.
Yes.
Okay, great, great.
I come to the port, but I didn't see.
Oh, I see. Okay. Where is good restaurant for breakfast?
Only one restaurant. Opa Opa, my place in Hora.
Oh, I see. Oh, in the town.
In the central, 3 kilometers.
Okay.
About 10 minutes.
Okay, and to rent a car, what's the
Yes, of course.
best place?
In Flora supermarket.
Okay.
Tell that come from Australia for the best price.
Okay. Actually, 1 minute. I want to get swimsuits here. Okay. So, there's a reason why I hadn't seen a restaurant in town, because as you may have heard from the guy there, who turns out is the owner of the hotel where I'm staying, there isn't one. Not in the main town, so I definitely, or not in the port town. I guess the Hora is the main town, maybe a little bit bigger. And I think that he said there is just one restaurant. Whoa. And so I definitely want to have a car to be able to get some dinner tonight, so let's hope that there is one available. Otherwise, maybe a motorbike or a four-wheeler or whatever. So he took my big backpack, said check in at 1:30 or 2 o'clock or so. That is fine, so let's get out of here, or rather get back into town, look for a car, and then go see a little bit of the island. So there's a place right there where I can rent a car or motorbike. Nobody there, and so I gave him a call and he said he will be here in 15 minutes. So while I'm waiting, let's get started with the content about Santorini. So I've been to Santorini 8 times. Now the funny thing is that of those 8 times, only 1 time did I go to Santorini just to go to Santorini. All the other 7 times that I've been there, there were other reasons, including accidental reasons why I ended up there. Now, Santorini is absolutely one of the most beautiful and unique of the Greek islands. Mykonos here looks nice, it looks very peaceful, classic landscapes and blue and white town and all that, but there is nothing like the dramatic, spectacular, just mind-blowing views from the cliffs at Fira and Ia and the little secret church that I showed in my last video. There's nowhere like Santorini, which of course is what it is because it was blown to pieces by a massive volcanic eruption. The island itself was a volcano. Unfortunately for the residents who lived there at the time, there were Greek people living there. And in 1600 BC, so 3,600 years ago, then the volcano started to erupt and erupted massively. One of the biggest volcanic eruptions in world history. It blew the island apart, caused a massive tsunami, which went all the way to Crete and basically destroyed the Minoan civilization that existed there. So a monumental event, but that resulted in a very different looking Greek island. So let's get to it. My first time to Santorini was in 1990. I was 18 years old. I'm going to give a very, very quick little recap of that trip. So I decided I wanted to travel, decided to go to Europe, and saved up the money. That's a whole story that I should make another video about. And I landed in London, England on May 2nd, 1990 with a backpack and a little bit of money. Not a lot for a 3.5-month trip, but just enough as it turned out. And I explored the British Isles, England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and then took a ferry to France, went to Paris. This would be early June, and it was raining there. I wanted sunshine, and so I was looking through my travel guidebook for Europe and decided to head for Greece. So I went straight down through Italy by train and took a ferry from Brindisi, Italy, to Corfu Island, my very first Greek island. Spent a few days there and then took another ferry from Corfu to Patras on the Greek mainland. And as I mentioned in a recent video, on that ferry journey, then I met this girl from Sweden who was the same age as me, 18. We ended up talking on the deck of the ferry and hit it off and got off the ferry and then took a train from Patras to Athens. And now I can't remember, I don't think that we spent a night in Athens as best as I can recall. I think that we just decided to get out of Athens and head for the islands. We were both broke backpackers, and so we decided to buy a ferry ticket to the first island. I don't know how we chose that particular island, if we knew anything at all about it. Maybe she made that choice, I don't remember that part. But we bought a cheap ferry ticket to the first island that ferry was going to on its route. And so we get on the ferry, and probably takes an hour or something, or two, I don't know. But we're coming up to the island and seeing it from the deck of the ferry, and we look at it and both decide, you know what, let's just keep going. Let's see what the next island looks like. Now, this is breaking the rules and you shouldn't do that, but we did it. So then get to the next island after that, and we look at it and decide, doesn't look that spectacular, let's keep on going. So you see most of the Greek islands just from the the boat or whatever, and maybe they don't look that spectacular. You got to get on them and explore and get to the best beaches and find the cool villages and all that stuff. But we just weren't impressed, and so we did this again and again. We kept getting to Greek islands and deciding, nah, let's just wait until the next one. And so we did this like 5 or 6 times, and then finally we got to an island that was the end of the line for that ferry, and so we had to get off, and that was Santorini. I don't know if I knew anything about it at that time, but I very clearly remember the very dramatic view from the ship, seeing the cliffs as we're coming into the port. It is still the same port, and I don't recall my impressions, but I think that I was more impressed than the other islands, at least in terms of like, whoa, this is definitely something different. And so we got off the ship, got a bus over to Parissa and stayed there. And I don't know if I ever actually went to Fira or Ia that time and saw the best views of, looking down in the crater from there. I don't remember. I might have just stayed at Parissa and didn't really understand that was the best thing to see, was from those other towns on the crater's edge, but maybe I did. Anyways, spent a few days there and then came back to the Greek mainland and continued my journey. So there you go. That is the first time I ended up on Santorini. Now going to wait for this guy to show up and get some sort of a wheeled vehicle and then head out and continue with the stories. And boom, got a motorbike for a change. Normally then they won't rent you a motorbike in Greece because you have to have a motorcycle license. It is just on the smaller and less popular islands that they don't seem to care so much. So they didn't ask me about having the motorcycle license. I did have to show my license. but 15 euros, that is just like $16-17 per day. I have it for 2 days. And the one reason why I might prefer to have a rental car is because of what's happening right now, which is some raindrops coming down. So apparently there is a restaurant right over there, so that's good to know. I think maybe I see it right up there. But I'm going to head up to the Hora and check out the restaurant there and the town. So let's do it before the rain picks up and get indoors. So the rain started to pick up a little bit and then went away, fortunately. Looks like that must be the Hora. So, whoop. So far, I like Mykonos. Man, it is super relaxed. So it looks like that is the Hora, the main town, sprawled across a ridge here. Aios Georgios, so not sure if that is another little town or monastery or what. And there, Castle of Mykonos. And then here, road going somewhere. So there is definitely a fair amount to explore here. A very simple playground here. I can see another Greek island out there, not sure which one that might be, possibly Fologondros, unless that is more that way. So here the Hora, parking the bike here so that I can walk to the restaurant and tell the second story. So not all of these stories are going to be long, full stories. A bunch of the other ones will be much more quick and to the point because not too much happened. But the second reason why I ended up on Santorini Island has a bit of a story to it. Looks like there are a couple of ways to go. I can go along the main road there to get to the restaurant I want to get to. Google is showing 3 restaurants, so we shall see about that. But that looks like a way to walk into the town here. So, my second time to Greece was in 2009. I was living in Portland, Oregon. I decided to go with a mountain bike. I took my own mountain bike on the plane, packaged it up, and headed to Greece. I don't think that I had a return flight. I moved out of my place in Portland and headed out one-way flight to Greece. So I didn't plan to go to Santorini at all on that trip. I went to a bunch of other islands, and then, long story short, I met this girl. So what do you think? Happy to be on a boat?
Yeah. Super happy.
Diana, Greek, from Athens, and we got together and she became my girlfriend. And so we traveled to a bunch of Greek islands together. So we were on Rhodes and we had a ferry booked to Milos. That was going to be quite a long ferry journey. And so I forget when exactly we got the news, but at some point we got the news that the ferry had been canceled because it was broken. I think we were at the port waiting for the ship to arrive, and it was not arriving to the best of my recollection. So finally we get some information that the ship is canceled, and so we now have to make other plans. Yes, us. So we go to the ferry office there, and they set us up with another route in which we would need to stop at Santorini for the night. So ferry overnight, because I think that it was going to be delayed, leaving later that afternoon or something, or in the evening maybe. So ferry to Santorini, stay one night, and then another ferry like the next maybe afternoon or evening to Milos, and so we didn't have to pay for this one again. They covered that. Also, we requested a cabin because it was going to be through the night, and they agreed and gave us a cabin, arriving at like 6 in the morning. And so we end up on Santorini, so that is my second time, and that ended up being a pretty amazing quick visit to Santorini. So Diana got sick, just had like a little cold or something, and so the next day then I headed out on my own, rented a motorbike, and went exploring just to make the most of the one day. And so we have wasn't sure if he was enclosed or not, sort of. Hello. So that is when I discovered the secret church that I showed in my last video, that is down this little path and looking out at the crater. A really amazing view and a really striking image of the church against the sea and the rest of the island curving out beyond it. And so I was on more of a photography mission at that time than videos, although I was shooting video footage as well at that time. I had my first digital camera, and so I took a few video clips, but wasn't focused as much on video. But I got some great photos there. Lots of cats. Bakery closed. No people. This is a classic Greek island village. Okay, where is the restaurant? And ooh, looks like there it is, and looks open. Excellent. All right, time to eat. I am starving. One vegetable omelet. Can you add cheese? Soft cheese? Okay. Yogurt, fruit, honey, and a glass of milk, possible. Milk, just cold milk.
Okay.
Yes.
With the omelette?
Yes, all together.
All together, okay.
By itself. That looks delish. Cheese vegetable omelet with bread, yogurt with fruit and honey, and a milk. That was a very tasty and filling breakfast there. That omelet was heavy with all those veggies in it. Very, very filling. All right, so let's wander the maze of the Hora as I talk about the third time that I ended up on Santorini. So that was also the third time that I went to Greece in 2016. I flew from Nepal to Athens and bought a bicycle there. The infamous bicycle that I tried to sell at the end of the trip in Monastiraki Square without luck. This is actually the only time that I went to Santorini just to visit Santorini. Partly it was just to go back and see it again, and also I think a factor was just that I had found really cheap accommodation there, at a hostel. I was on a very, very small budget of around $30 per day. That was my budget back then. I was traveling on my YouTube earnings, but that's all that I was making. So I was in, you know, Nepal and cheaper places before that. And so then in Europe, I had to stay in hostels mostly. And so I found this hostel, I guess, online on Santorini, and I believe it was €9 a night. And so I took my bicycle on a ferry from Piraeus to Santorini and stayed there for like 10 days, I think. And then from there, I went to Ios for the first time, which is, of course, the island where I started this video. Look at that view. No land that I can see out there from here, although there could be another island hidden in the clouds there. I really like this Hora town, and that looks like a really cool walk up there, so let's go for it. I will plan to save the castle for tomorrow for something to film in tomorrow's video when I make more of a tour of the island. So the fourth time that I went to Santorini was in 2018, and the reason I ended up there that time is because I was making plans to meet up with a friend, Daniela, from the Netherlands. Okay, this isn't going to go through there. And we were talking about meeting up in Greece, and she would fly out here. And we wanted to find a place where there was a direct flight from Amsterdam so that she wouldn't have to change planes, just to make it simpler. And so we decided to meet here, and then something changed on her part. I think maybe she just found the other island that we did end up meeting on of Samos, and just decided she wanted to go there for some reason. But meanwhile, I had already made plans to come to Santorini. I might have already booked accommodation like in advance because I thought that we had already decided on meeting up there. Something like that. And so I just went ahead with those plans. Somehow it worked out. Also, it might have been a matter of ferries. That could have been partly why, because I couldn't get there from Anafi Island is where I was. Yasu. So maybe it was a matter of I had time to kill anyways. Oh, looks like this might not be the way through either. And so I ended up going there that time just because it was on the way to getting to Samos, and I had some time to spare before we met up, something like that. Okay, we're on the right track. What's the story with this? Some sort of a hotel they're constructing? What a scene, man. This is definitely a unique island of its own. So the fifth time that I ended up on Santorini was in 2022, and the only reason that I went there that time is because I was in Cyprus. I had come down from Cappadocia, Turkey, flown into northern Cyprus. Accidentally, I saw airport in Cyprus and just hadn't double checked it, and it turned out that that was the airport in northern Cyprus. It said Nicosia, which is the capital of Cyprus, of both south and north, but I'd seen Nicosia Airport and just thought that it was the Greek side of Cyprus. And so I ended up flying into northern Cyprus and then didn't spend any time there that time and just crossed the border into Greek Cyprus. And then I had booked a flight from Larnaca to Santorini just because there was a direct flight and that would get me out to the island. So it was just a matter of flying there to get to the islands. And that is the first time that I tried to come to Mykonos. So that's what I had in mind, was to come to Mykonos here because I hadn't been to this island yet. But then what I discovered after I arrived, and I went to EOS again that time, I looked on booking.com and there was literally nothing available on Mykonos. And now I understand better why, because there's very little of anything, hotels or restaurants. And this was, I think, July, and so everything was just sold out. And so I just couldn't come here because there was nowhere to stay. Anyways, I spent several days on Santorini that time and enjoyed it. Okay, then the 6th time that I went to Santorini was in 2024. Last year, almost exactly a year ago. And that was with Anna from Mexico. And once again, it was a combination of showing her Santorini, since it was her first time to Greece, and also because there's the airport and we could catch a flight out of there, and so we ended up flying to Italy. So the 7th time was the same year, 2024, last fall. And that was with my friend Sterling in the US. And so kind of the same thing. She hadn't been to Santorini before, and that's where her flight was booked out of. And so I went there to show her a bit of Santorini. It was a very short trip, I think, maybe just 1 or 2 nights. I think I stayed longer afterwards. Yeah, I stayed for like at least 3 nights or something, but she had just like 1 night there. And then the last and final time that I went to Santorini was just now. I was just there 4 days ago. And once again, it was just because of flights. Because I wanted to come back out to the islands, and I wanted to come to Mykonos this time, and also go to Kymelos. So there you go. 8 times to Santorini, and don't regret any one of them. They were all nice visits, and I will be more than happy to go back for a 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 20th time. It is definitely an amazing Greek island with a lot to see, and like nowhere else on earth. I mean, absolutely one of the top places to see in the world. If I had to pick my favorite Greek island, I'm not going to proclaim it's Santorini. The main and real only drawback is how popular it is, and as a result of how popular, then it's expensive. But the key is visit during low season or shoulder season, as I just did in May. Really nice room at Parissa Beach for, I forget now, I think $40-something or $50, around $50. That same room will be quadruple the price in high season. So Santorini, definitely one of the best Greek islands. Okay, look at this. I guess a church, maybe a monastery. Let's see if we can poke inside. Man, what a just kind of surreal scene, especially being just about the only tourist on the island. So when Sterling and I took the ferry from Milos to Santorini, we had to get off at Ios and just wait for an hour for a ferry over to Santorini. But the ferry stopped here at Sikanos. So we pull into the harbor and dock, and there might have been nobody that got off the ferry, or one person. I think maybe one person on a motorbike, and then like 2 people got on. And then we get to Ios, and then get that ferry from Ios to Santorini. Get to Santorini, and I mean, it was like, you know, it felt like a football stadium's worth of people. Just this absolute mass, this crowd of definitely hundreds of people got off at Santorini. So if you don't like crowds, don't go to Santorini or go in off season. Okay, let's investigate this little church, chapel. Is it open? Ooh, it might be. Oh, it's half open. That's funny. Okay, I can open this up. Just take a quick look inside. So I don't know if I even want to bother them in there if there's anybody here. It says, please keep quiet. Let's just take a look. Okay, well. Sign that says visitor center, so it's definitely okay. Wow. It's so peaceful. What does that mean? And then there's a sign on the door that says open, so I guess it's fine to look inside. Okay, pretty dark, but more elaborate than the little chapel. And it smells really nice. Not sure what that is, maybe just the candles. There was a nun there doing something to the door, fixing it, I guess. I assume that must be her car, and she is the attendant of the church there. So just going to wander up here, try to get up onto the top of that hill there. I wonder if that is the high point on the island. I guess maybe that's higher up there, it looks like. There is a very loud bird in this bush. I didn't catch it on video, I don't think, but it just called several times. A peacock, maybe? Oh, yeah. There we got a peacock. Check it out. I think the call was coming from in this bush, so I guess there's a couple of them. Wow, it's gorgeous. Okay, how to get up there? I want to see the view looking out and see which island we can see. Now I can't see another island out there. Harsh landscapes here, but getting through it. Man, this wind is getting crazy. All right, almost to the top of the hill. Let's see what we can see, and then I think I'll get back to my room, get out of the wind for the afternoon. Really hoping that tomorrow is sunnier and less windy. Ooh, I'm feeling some raindrops now. Okay, yeah, time to get back to my bike and get back to my room, get inside. Okay, there we go. Yes, I can see Eos over there. Looks like a massive cliff right there. Don't get too close. Don't let the wind carry away my camera. Wow. This is a desolate island, but the road continues over there, so more to explore. Little teeny little church in the middle of nowhere down there. Classic Greece. Okay, whoa, man. This is getting crazy. Alright, that is going to do it for this video. More coming from Sick Enough.